Now, in 1936, this was written 1 year after I was born, and I have reprinted it, and I call it Dirty Little Secrets. But it was originally printed by the U.S. Senate 74th Congress, second session, document number 264, and it was called The Modern Miracle Man. It was modern in 1936, and it was by Dr. Charles Northern, an MD. And basically what it says is this, that they had found out that food did not have any value in it, that it was foodless food. Foodless food. Have you ever heard the term? Empty calories, foodless food. There's reasons for it. And here's what it said. America no longer provides plant foods with the mineral elements essential to human nourishment and health. 1936. To overcoming this alarming condition, they doctor soils to make them rich, and by seeming miracles raise truly healthy and health-giving fruits and vegetables. Now, they knew that. What did they do about it? Well, the same as Merck. Tabled it. It's not a chemical. You can't get a patent on minerals, but you can get a patent on NPK. You can get patents on certain types of fertilizers. And so that's what they promoted. A root of all evil, not the root, a root of all evil is money. The alarming fact is that foods, fruits, vegetables, and grains are now being raised on land that no longer contains enough minerals. That was in 1936. If that was true then, what's true today? One carrot may look like another carrot, but what's inside? And man looks on the outside. Look, that looks all right to me. Yahweh looks on the inside. He looks on the inner man. He looks on the inner carrot. Looks on the inner potato. What's inside, right? And before this is over today, I'm going to show you how to test what's inside to see whether that nourishment is there or not. Now, I made a lot of claims when I was here this spring, and John's not here. I don't see him anyway. But he said, we're going to invite Charles back this fall to face the music, to see whether these things work or not, Well, we have been listening to the music, and I will tell you that I've been enjoying the music. I've been enjoying the stories and the testimonials that you folks have been telling me. But in the meantime, I want to talk to you about what was happening after 1936. That's when J.I. Rodale came along, and he had Prevention Magazine, and he had organic gardening. Remember that? Still going today, right? And organic gardening has got to the place where it's sort of like the Bible. People look at it and they say, oh, it's organic. It's organic gardening. Oh, that's good stuff. And I thought so myself. And I defend organic gardening even today. But I bought myself a refractometer, and we can now test the organic gardening produce that is being sold all over the city of Phoenix, Arizona. And I want all of you folks who are interested to get a refractometer and start testing, especially the organic food. And you will find that it has no more minerals in it than the regular chemically grown food. Why? Because organic only means that it hasn't had any chemicals, poisonous chemicals, put on that soil for the last 3 years. That's all it means. It only tells you what's not in the soil. It does not tell you what is in the soil, much less what is in the plant. But if you'll take a refractometer, take 1 drop of that plant juice, be it a leaf or whatever, you can tell the minerals and sugar content in there. Now, this refractometer measures bricks, and so it is measuring sugar. But sugar can't come up unless the minerals come up. So they come up together. And so what I say on there is this. The following 3 items are based on U.S. Senate document number 264, which is the one that I just read to you. Written in 1936, and that this is even more true today. Number 1, certified organic does not fix the fact that organic food is still deficient in minerals. They discovered it back here in 1936. It's still there. They haven't done anything about it. Why? you can't make a killing at it. You can't make a lot of money at it. That's why. But now we can rebuild it. We can rebuild that very quickly. And I've been studying this since the 60s on how to resurrect dead soil into living, dead dirt into living soil, and how to mineralize it and so forth. And we've got it down, I think, as far as we're going to get it. Certified organic does not fix the fact that organic food is still being raised in dead dirt. Certified organic does not fix the fact that organic topsoil is still being washed downstream. Takes nature 100 years on average to make a 1 inch of topsoil, and we can create about 5 or 6 inches of topsoil in one growing season with the microbes. The biggest dirty little secret about certified organic, that's the one on the bottom, and I just told you that one, is that it does not certify what is in the soil. It certifies what is not in the soil. And so we're going to go right into the teeth of these organic people and challenge them, and we're not trying to hurt them. We want those organic people to not only be organic, but we want them to be sustainable. And sustainable means that the food that they raise will be self-perpetuating, that you can take the seeds. We do not use hybrid seeds, for instance. And the reason we do not use hybrid seeds is hybrid seeds, even if you have the minerals in the soil, it will not uptake those minerals. For instance, it takes cobalt to make vitamin B12. If you have cobalt in the soil and you have hybrid corn, the hybrid corn cannot uptake the cobalt. And if you don't have the cobalt, which is the core element of vitamin B12, you will not have B12, and you'll have to take B12 shots or, vitamin B12. Now, you have to understand that the most important part, maybe people think vitamins are more important than minerals. I'm going to tell you they're not. Without minerals, vitamins are useless. You can take the minerals, and the minerals will do you some good without the vitamins. But you can take vitamins without minerals, they won't do you any good. Of course, you'll have some minerals inside your body, a few, and they'll do you a little bit of good. I'm not saying they won't do you any good at all. But if you want the maximum amount of good, you need to take vitamins and minerals together. And I would say that if you haven't tested your soil, if you haven't tested your food, and if you don't know what you have in that soil, then you need to be taking food supplements. You need to be taking vitamins and minerals. And we'll get to that just a little bit. Now, what we do is we do something what we call intensive gardening. And in intensive gardening, we use intensive feeding. Now, a farmer puts his fertilizer on the soil when he plants, and then he prays for rain and hopes for a good crop. He goes through and tills a little bit, puts some weed killer on there or whatever, but that's the only food that his land gets is once a year. Isn't that right? They just do it and hope that they get a good crop. We don't do that. What we do is we go on at this time of the year, in the fall, and we put on soil conditioner. Now, the soil conditioner has microbes in it, and microbes of different varieties. We have aerobic microbes that go down 5 inches deep, and we have anaerobic microbes that go down 20 inches deep, and they till the soil. Now, some of the folks that were here were telling me that they put this on this spring, and they said when we walk across our garden, it feels funny. It's kind of spongy. What's wrong with our garden? I said, well, there's nothing wrong with your garden. That's the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be spongy. Now, I'm doing some avocado orchards down around San Diego. A dear sister down there has them, and she's got root rot, and she can't figure out what's wrong with her trees, and she has $1,000 a week a water bill, just watering these trees. I said, well, how much runoff do you have? Oh, we got a lot of runoff. I said, well, you shouldn't have any. I said, if we don't do anything, if we don't stop the root rot, we'll stop you from paying all that money for the water. Because what we're going to do is we're going to put billions of little sponges in your soil, and these little sponges are going to hold that water from running off. I says, when you get this up there and you get it built in, you'll water that soil until you see runoff and quit, because that means the sponges are full. So she's interested in that, and we're experimenting with that avocado trees right now. Now these little microbes, they go down in there, and they were developed by a doctor over 50 years ago, and he went around the world collecting microbes out of swamps and so forth and experimenting with them to find which ones were the most virile, which ones were the most hardy, which ones were the hardest workers and so forth, and he bred them until that's the microbes that we use now. So they really work, and people say, well, I put manure in the garden. Oh, really? Why would you do that? Well, I was raised doing it, and I did it when I was a child, and so it was natural to do it. And I'm not saying don't do it, but I will say this. Are you as smart as a cow? I always wondered about this. When I was a child, I had to go out and get the cows and bring them in, and I would notice those cows out there eating, and there would be this tuft of grass growing up about this high, nice and green, but it was growing out of a cow pile. And those cows wouldn't eat that. They wouldn't eat it. But we would take that cow manure, put it on our garden, and we ate it. We were always sick. Everybody was sick. And did you notice recently what they said that caused the spinach problem? You've read about that and heard about it, I'm sure. They think now it was animal manure runoff from the cows and the hog pens and so forth. They think that's what caused it. They're not sure, but I wouldn't doubt it. So why would you put that on your soil? Another thing we do is we build compost piles. Now, what is a compost pile? Is a compost pile something that you really need? Do you need compost? No, you don't. You don't need compost. You need humus. And when you have a compost pile, you're trying to make humus. Now, humus, it's like if you have a pile of brush and you burn it, you're going to get very little ashes, right? Same thing with a compost pile. When you really get down to it, there's very little left, isn't there? That's the humus. Well, guess what? We use Yahweh's compost pile, his humus pile, that has been there since the flood, and it's called coal. Now, if you just take coal and put it on your land, it's going to take several years for it to break down. So we know that, so what we do is we liquefy it. We liquefy the coal, and then we use that as our humus ingredient. We get certain kinds of coal, mainly from Minnesota. We don't use any of the soft coals, or it's a hard coal, low sulfur, and that type of thing. So that's our humus. We don't, and I was going to call it compost pile in a bottle when I first started making it, but then I said, no, it's not compost, it's humus. So now we just call it soil conditioner. We put the bugs in the soil conditioner, and we put the trace minerals in that soil conditioner, and you should put it on right now, because in the fall of the year, it will eat the residue of the crops. Till it under, you put it on your garden, water it in so that it goes down underneath the ground, and it will eat the residue of the garden. And then next spring, you put it on again for the summertime, because what it will do, these microbes, you should have 3,000 pounds of available calcium per acre in your land, and no one has it. But the calcium's there, but it's not. Remember what I said? Available. So you have to make it available. Now, what makes it available? The microbes.